So today we're gonna finally talk about something that I've been using for the past couple of weeks. These are the Orca FPV-1 goggles, and I've been using them with the Mavic 3. Now, normally these two things wouldn't live harmoniously, but I gotta say, it's a pretty damn good combination. I'm gonna explain how you make this work and whether or not this is right for you. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Ken here. You're watching Original Dobo, and today I want to talk a little bit about using the Orca FPV-1 goggles with the Mavic 3. Now, I do want to go ahead and disclose that Orca did go ahead and send me these goggles to take a look at. I met them back at CES, and honestly, they're a really cool set of guys, and I think they finally remembered my information, sent me a set of goggles, and yeah, so thanks for sending these over. These goggles work with analog quads, and if you want to fly HD zeros, so it's not just for this, but I'm using this only with a Mavic. But okay, so let's talk about the goggles first and foremost, and get some technical specs out of the way. I'm not gonna go too deep into the technical specs. If you wanna know more about these goggles, like from the technical side of life, go check out Joshua Bardwell's video because he like totally nerds out about these goggles with all the little things that you need to know. So the goggle design is very, very futuristic. They look great. Honestly, these look like a Cybertruck. I must have heard that a dozen times throughout my time of testing these and using them. They have two individual OLED displays inside. 1280 by 960 is the pixel resolution. Don't let that 720p display fool you. It's slightly higher than 720p, but when those pixels are directly stuck to your eyeballs, it looks crazy sharp. It looks way better. I spit everywhere. There was spit everywhere. It looks way better than the DJI RC Pro. I can't explain it. Something about OLED, something about displays being on your face. It just, it makes you wanna, you're eye fucking the world around you because it's so good. You're just eye fucking everything. They do give you a couple of different styles of foam for the face mask. I have the leather or pleather on mine, and the reason why I have the pleather on here is because if I allow people to try this out or fly, you know, my face is sweaty, their face is sweaty. This is just easier to clean this than the foam. I will tell you the foam is a lot more comfortable, but you know, from a sanitary standpoint, I think this is the way to go if you're going to allow people to go for ride-alongs. Now, the goggles do not come with a battery. However, they did send me a battery. Orca does sell these batteries, but you can get batteries from basically anywhere. Also, one other thing, there wasn't a charger included with these, so I did have to purchase a charger separately, which I found on Amazon for 11 bucks. If you decide to get one of these sets of goggles, I'll link that down below where you can check it out, along with the batteries that you can get. Because these batteries, you can basically get these batteries from anywhere. It is cool because they have a little indicator of knowing exactly how much is in the charge. All right, enough about the goggles. How do you make them work with your Mavic? Well, you will need an RC Pro or a smart controller. I have my RC Pro here. And oh, by the way, you may be asking yourself, what are these crazy looking handles? Well, these are the Love Handle Max Pros. You can find these on our Etsy store at the time of filming this video. These are really amazing. They allow you to, look at that. How about that? And it's just really super sexy. Shameless plug, sorry. Okay, so how do we make this work? Well, the first thing we need to do is go ahead and power on our Mavic 3 or whatever drone you are going to use. I'm setting that over there because it's gonna, yep, it's gonna beep. Then I'm gonna go ahead and power on my goggles and then power on the RC Pro. Now, they did have a HDMI cord inside the box, so if you are going to use these, just know that it is a micro HDMI and they have an L, so that is nice because it just like sort of fits right out. And this was a micro HDMI to HDMI. However, with the RC Pro, as you know, it uses an HDMI mini. So I had to pick up a little adapter from Best Buy. This was like a $7 adapter, not a big deal. And I just connect to this end here. I don't want to record. So I'll connect it there. And then on the power side, you have the HDMI, and voila. We just connect this up here. There we go. Had like Richard Pryor hands going on there. And I can see an image, and let me see if I can show you inside the goggles. I'm gonna use the DJI Action 2 to actually show you inside the goggles. Wow, this battery is like depleted, but maybe I can record. Son of a bitch, this battery. Son of a bitch. All right, I'm gonna try the second action, which I broke the screen on this action, so I don't even know if it's gonna be able to see inside the goggles. I'm sure it will, but you can sort of see inside here. You can basically have it to where it will mirror your display, or if you wanna turn that off and have it where there's no, there's no telemetry, you can have it to where there's no telemetry. It's entirely up to you. I prefer having telemetry because I wanna know how high I am off the ground. I wanna know if there's any approaching aircrafts. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you're gonna want telemetry. I also am always watching my exposure as I'm filming. So that's one reason why you would want that on, but you can see, you sees perfectly. All right, so I do wanna make mention of one other thing about these goggles is the IPD adjustments. And this is something that is not really talked about a lot, but I know a lot of people when it comes to flying FPV, they have a hard time with standard goggles like this where they have two individual screens. Some people have a hard time focusing and seeing just one image. And that's a reason why a lot of people don't fly FPV because of those focus sort of problems. With these goggles, you have a very wide array of IPD adjustments. So if you have a really wide set eye, you have a lot of adjustment to make. Not only do you have a lot of adjustment, you do have focus wheels so you can fine tune the focus. Now, one con of this is I always find myself having to readjust my focus each time I put the goggles on. It's not a big deal. I just power on the drone, put my goggles on for a brief moment, and then go ahead and adjust the focus and make sure I can see things clearly. It's just in transit or sometimes taking them on and off, I accidentally touch the focus wheel. So that is something to consider. I will tell you that I did try these with my buddy Mike, and he was able to see perfectly. And Mike has never been able to try a set of goggles like this. Even Fat Sharks didn't work for him. He was always seeing two images and never one. But with these, he was able to see one image. So that honestly to me speaks volumes in itself of the wide array of focus adjustments, because he was having so many problems before. And with these, he didn't have any problems. So if you are somebody prone to problems, you'll be happy to know that those adjustments do make life a little bit easier. Okay, so why would you even want to fly FPV goggles with a Mavic? Well, for starters, it does give you a much more immersive experience. For me, flying FPV is fun, and when I fly my Mavic, it's just sort of like, I feel like it's very utilitarian, and I'm just flying because I have to fly, or I'm flying because I'm getting paid to fly something. So it's not as fun as if I was in a set of goggles flying FPV. So the immersive experience is probably like at the top of my list of why I would want to use a set of FPV goggles with the Mavic. The second reason why is because there are some instances where the RC Pro just is not bright enough, and in direct sunlight, images look really super washed out. But when I'm strapped into the goggles, seeing all the pixels right in my face, there is no light leak, I'm just able to see exactly what the drone sees. I found myself getting better exposure. Many of you saw that video I did when I was in Pittsburgh, and for many of those shots, I was using the Orca FPV-1 goggles. And what that allowed me to do was to really control my exposure to the nines, because I was shooting in the standard profile. When I'm not shooting in log, having accurate exposure consistently is super important. So this allowed me to have accurate exposure constantly throughout that entire shoot. And that was the reason why I was able to make that standard profile look as dynamic as it was. And then the last reason why, or last reason for me, would be the fact that I feel a lot more confident behind the goggles. Ever since I've been flying FPV, I've put my drones in situations that I would have never done before. I would never have attempted so many different shots with my FPV drones. But being in the goggles, I have better spatial awareness. And because I have better spatial awareness, I'm able to be a lot more daring with some of my shots. And maybe this is just a me thing, but I just found myself flying the Mavic a lot more like I flew my FPV drone, because I was able to sort of measure out the distance between, let's say, going under a bridge, between the water and the top of the bridge. I was able to just blast through there in sport mode even, because I knew that I was nowhere near hitting the top or the bottom. And I can't really judge that when I'm looking down at the RC, because when you're staring down at an RC sometimes, you still see everything else around you. So your focus is never exactly on what it is that you're doing. Your focus is split because sometimes you're looking here, or maybe a friend's talking to you and you're drifting off. So your focus is never truly at what the drone is seeing. It's the same as driving. You can become distracted because there's things in your peripherals that will distract you. But when you're behind a set of goggles, none of that is there. You have none of those distractions. It's just basically what the drone is seeing. And for me, I just felt a lot more confident. I was able to get a lot more dynamic shots utilizing these goggles. So for me, that's a big win. All right, so there's a lot of products on the market now that sort of do the same thing. Like you have the drone mask, which is sort of, it's okay. Like if you have the regular RC and you don't have an RC Pro, but there's some downsides to using things that take your phone and put your phone in your face like this. One, your phone screen will never be as good in your eyeballs as a set of goggles that were tuned to be that close to your face. They will just never be as good. Phones are meant to be held about here, not here. So keep that in mind. The other thing is the fact that if I needed to stop or I had an emergency and I'm flying and I'm in these goggles, I'm in my fucking world here, and all of a sudden I needed to stop, I can just do this, pick up this, and still see exactly what the drone sees. And now I have all of my peripherals around me. I'm able to look around, see what the hell's going on, make sure I'm not getting robbed, put my goggles back down. Oh, wait. Nope. Yep, I'm not getting robbed. Put my goggles back down and keep on going. So that's one of the benefits of flying with a separate set of goggles, a dedicated set of goggles that doesn't utilize your phone, is that you have that added safety. Now, one downside to flying with a set of goggles is technically here in the United States, you do need to have a spotter to fly FPV. So like for me being in Philly, flying with these in Pittsburgh and whatnot, I had Billy and Lon with me, so it wasn't a big deal. When I did my B-roll shots, I had to have my wife with me, and she was sitting in the truck because she hates this stuff. I swear she doesn't like this. But she was there watching just to make sure like a car wasn't going to come out in the middle of the road and run me over. So those are some things to think about. But all in all, I'm going to continue using these for my Mavic 3. It's giving me a great experience. I've also used this with a couple of my agents, just letting them go for a ride along because they've never seen what a drone sees. And then you strap a set of goggles to their face and they're like, holy shit. So it is a cheap parlor trick in that instance, but I think it's a cool one nonetheless. So I don't know. It's just sort of giving me a little bit more inspiration to go out and fly. When I can't fly FPV, I can still sort of have FPV, but without like all the worries of crashing and whatnot. So it's just another tool. These are all just tools, and however you use these tools to capture the magic that you're looking for is up to you. But anyways, I'll have a link in the description below for the goggles, the battery. If you want to get yourself this nifty little Love Handle Pro, yeah, that's for the RC Pro. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna just continue on with the shameless plug here. We even made it to where for the guys that have a case, you wanna get it off in a hurry, you can, because we have thumb screws now to where you can just take this off in a hurry and then reconnect it just as fast as you took it off. So that's the Love Handle Pro. That'll be a link in the description below. And yeah, so anyways, if you have any questions, I'll be in the comments for a little bit, hanging out, answering them for you. And as always, stay original.
I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message on me, ain't no flexing on me, my attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me, my successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check.